Chapter 49, The Cultivation of Spirit Fields Plan. Fondness for wood and plants 50-50. You can identify the quality of growth in wood and plants and distinguish the superiority of seeds. Promotion. Ashen Yi continued to gather, the white attribute. Quickly filled and transformed, emitting a luminous green light, altering his view. Wood and plant specialist green. You can plant spiritual medicines and distinguish the growth rate of wood and plants. The growth speed of the wood and plants under your care has slightly increased. After observing his attributes, Han Yi nodded in satisfaction. Wood and plant specialist allowed him to start with spiritual plants and understand their knowledge. In other words, he was no longer an outsider. He could now select suitable spirit seeds with his own eyes. However, at this time, the disciple of Bihu Peak in front of him had finished selecting his seeds. With a bag full of spirit seeds, he headed toward the counter to pay. Seeing this, Han Yi thought to himself, if one wants to go to Bihu Peak and grab attributes, one must have enough examination points. Only excellent disciples are qualified to go to other main peaks for further study. It also requires the Elder's Audit. He looked at the prices and descriptions of spirit seeds in each zone, and couldn't help but lament, right now, I can only start with some simple spiritual medicines. Complex spirit seeds are often expensive, and I can't afford them. This Mu Yang flower is used for making physique elixirs. A bag of seeds costs as much as 300 spirit stones, which is too expensive. I can only buy some spirit gathering grass seeds first to see how they grow. 50 spirit stones a bag, it's not cheap. With this, all the spirit stones on me are spent. He also had a bottle of key nurturing pills, which cost 50 spirit stones. He hadn't saved a penny from his trip to Mount Duo Bao. Luckily, the sect provided him with a fixed quantity of abstinence pills monthly, so he would not starve. Just these two items? Yes, a bag of spirit gathering grass seeds and a bottle of key nurturing pills. Han Yi honestly paid the spirit stones at the counter and finally got his items. After leaving Mount Duo Bao, Wang Daniu looked curiously at Han Yi, as he put the seeds and key nurturing pills into his storage ring, and asked, Brother Han, why are you buying so many seeds? Of great use. Han Yi responded with a faint smile and then, glancing around, whispered, Daniu, you may not have noticed, but the gathering key pills on the counter just now were 300 lower grade spirit stones per bottle. The effects of the gathering key pills are far better than the key nurturing pills. If I can cultivate the key gathering grass in large quantities and sell them to the alchemy disciples, I might make a considerable profit. I didn't expect Brother Han to have a business mind. But are you sure you know how to plant these fragile things? For once, Wang Daniu was shrewd. He understood the key point and asked, doubtfully. He had been a farmer since childhood, and he knew very well that if he wanted to sell his grains and vegetables, he would need to meet certain criteria. The things he grew had to be of high quality. The wheat ears had to be large, and the vegetables fresh. Of course I do. Han Yi gave a mysterious smile. Meanwhile, on one side of Mount Duo Bao, Liu Linky, holding her newly acquired flying sword, bowed to a gracefully dressed lady standing in mid-air, respectfully saying, I pay my respects to Master. The person in front of her was the Master of Ziwei Peak, Yu Langlang, who was also her master. Elder Yu had just come out of the Supreme Hall after a meeting with Founder Yungshu. She came specially to find Liu Linky and asked casually after seeing her, I heard that among the people who went with you from Liu Manor, 2 guys entered Pure Yang Peak. Yes. Although Liu Linky didn't know why her master brought this up, she solemnly nodded. Elder Yu was not only her master but also the master of her elder brother, essentially their solid support. In the sect, besides diligent cultivation, getting the favor of the elder was also crucial. Elder Yu advised solemnly, you are new here, so let me tell you some rules first. In the future, avoid mingling with the disciples of Pure Yang Peak. Remember, in the sect's big competition at the end of the year, they will be your enemies. Although Liu Linky was puzzled by this rule, she didn't dare to ask more and simply nodded in agreement. I understand, Master. Furthermore, there's one more thing. I promise to teach you the Ziwei sword technique when you break through to the Key Sea realm. but after some thought, given your recent excellent performance, you are capable of learning this sword technique. So, I plan to teach it to you now." Upon hearing these words, Liu Linky was stunned for a moment, then her face lit up with surprise, and she bowed in gratitude. "Thank you, Master." She had long heard that Elder Yu's Ziwei sword technique was like a divine masterpiece. When practiced to the highest level, it could project a purple mist for thousands of miles, with the power of the sword technique overwhelming everything. However, the basic requirements are very high. One needs a certain foundation to cultivate it. Was her master planning to teach it to her now? Elder Yu moistened her red lips, recalling the words of founder Yungshu, and added, "You must work hard. I have high expectations for you, and Chu Shanyu, both of you are promising among the newly accepted disciples. Strive to secure the top place in the sect's big competition at the end of the year. You should know that Ziwei Peak has never ranked below 3rd in the past. This ranking determines the allocation of resources for the whole next year. You must not slack off." "Yes," Elderu nodded satisfyingly at Liu Linkus' response. But suddenly, as if sensing something with her spiritual sense, she saw someone. Her gaze fell upon him. She noticed a sturdy-looking young man, his energy as solid as a rock. He was joking and laughing with a great man beside him while riding a white crane past them. Judging by their clothes, they were outer sect disciples. Despite being only in the key cultivation realm, this man had such a strong energy and vitality. "Master, what's wrong?" Lilinki, seeing her reaction, curiously asked. Elder Yu shook her head, indicating no issue. "Nothing. I just thought that disciple is quite good looking, rather unique." Upon hearing this, Liu Linky paused for a moment. "Huh? It seems my mother has also said something similar?" On their ride back to the peak on a white crane, Han Yi introduced his spirit field's cultivation plan to Wang Daniu. Pure Yang Peak is not a dedicated place for cultivating spiritual plants, so there are many vacant spirit fields. As long as I apply for it to my senior sister, I can get a few acres. If I plant for half a year, after half a year, when the spiritual medicines in my hand are mature, there will be at least 50 plants. Selling it to the alchemy disciples of Yangshan Peak, I've already checked. Spirit gathering grass sells for 150 spirit stones. I can sell for 100 spirit stones. Deducting 50 spirit stones for the seeds, even if only 10 out of 10,000 disciples are willing to buy, I can still earn 500 spirit stones. 50 plants, that would be 2,500 spirit stones. It's a sure profit. Wang Daniu laughed heartily after hearing Han Ye's plan. "It does seem like you could make spirit stones from this. I'm not familiar with business matters, so I'll leave it up to you, Brother Han. But I am curious, why would Yangshan Peak buy your spiritual medicines, and not those from Bihu Peak? In the past, when my father was selling vegetables, most of the buyers were villagers. Even if others were selling cheaper, they would still choose my father, because he wasn't deceitful and he was honest in business. So, I thought maybe you, Brother Han, might have overlooked this point." After pondering for a moment, Han Yi suddenly understood and clapped his hands. "That makes sense. The low-price strategy doesn't always work. Bihu Peak has long been providing large quantities of spiritual medicines, so they are trustworthy, but me, an outer sect disciple, who would come to buy? So, I have to raise the quality and reputation. We'll have to see specifically how Yangshan Peak is purchasing. In this case, I'll have to build a good relationship with Gao Kiching from Yangshan Peak and arrange a visit." When Han Yi and Wang Daniu just returned to Pure Yang Peak, one of the inner sect brothers found him and said, "Brother Han Yi, this evening our master has called a few outer sect disciples for a meeting. Hurry up and go." "The master is calling me." "All right." Han Yi promptly agreed. He descended slowly and started walking towards the great hall at the top. What are they gathering outer sect disciples for late in the night?